Hi everyone, in this video we're going to make a spinning platform that players will be able to jump on to get to the other side of this level. So the first thing, let's create a capsule shape, and we can create an instance of it. Let's expand it out a little bit and then rotate it so this is something that players could walk on. Let's make the top of it a flat surface, so we basically want to cut this down the middle here. So we can say instead of going the full 360, we could say 270, but we want say 180. And then let's paint this all a new material. And maybe we'll kind of make it a white color is good. Let's make this shape a little more interesting. Let's add, so the first thing we want to notice is changing anything in the middle won't actually influence this at all because of the divisions. It's actually a little tough to see. We'll paint this a different color. So right now it just looks like this, where it has two rectangles. But if we increase the divisions to say 32, now we can see it has a bunch of different shapes. So now this will help us kind of make this shape what we want it to appear to be. So that looks about right. The only issue now is we have a lot more divisions than what we are actually using. So we can add a component and add divisions. Need to add one more to the end here. And now it'll perfectly be divided on the platform. So now basically we want this to be spinning around here, then the player can jump on this on one side and get to the other side. The only problem is if we use the shape exactly as is, it'll spin like this because it'll spin around the object center. What we actually want to do is spin the object around this back part. So we'll add in a block. It doesn't matter because we're going to be hiding this anyway. And then we want to attach this to the block. So we can use set object and click on it, and now it's attached. So now if we move this one, it'll spin the other shape. So let's put this in the very center, and then actually let's make this a little bit bigger here, and our shape looks still pretty good. Great, so now if we spin this, it'll bring to either side of the cliffs. So we'll keep this visible just for the sake of the demo. But let's add a spin component to the block, and then we can create a new timeline, and now it will just spin between 0 and 360 degrees for 5 seconds. And then we don't actually need this block anymore, so now we can just set it to invisible and uncollidable. So now if you were able to get on here, you wouldn't run into this block at all. It's just kind of in the editor right now. If we want this block to stop on either side, what we actually want to do then is stop in the very middle at 180 degrees and then stop again at the start. So we can modify the graph to kind of do something pretty similar to that. It's faster on one side. There we go. So that looks about right. If we want to, we can make this all a little bit longer, and then it won't move so quickly. Great. And now if we wanted to spin the other way, we could set this to be negative 360. This is a good time to look at the interpolations. So right now it's just moving in a straight path. So what we can do is change it from linear to another interpolation type. So maybe we can fade into it. Let's update both of these. And now it'll kind of have a smoother motion, and it can kind of make it trickier to jump on if you're late to the jump. So now if we wanted to, we could add a few more things to the level just to make it look a little bit better. We could add maybe some pine trees. You can hit copy. Maybe you can add some grass. Now we can drag it to the other side. we stand on the end of this, it should bring us right around. Great. The next thing let's do is create a platform that can get us up to the chest. So let's create a voxel shape, which will by default be a 10 by 10 voxel. This might be a familiar concept to some people, but the basic idea is it's kind of a grid of 10 by 10 by 10 cubes. So if we hit edit, we can erase individual cubes, we can or add different cubes to it. But this is a little bit too big for a small platform, so instead of 10 by 10, let's just make it maybe 3 by 5 would be good. And then let's add a pattern to it to make it look a little bit cooler. And so we're just basically setting this to be a different material. So if we didn't want this to be white, it's just using this white material. Maybe we want it to be orange and white. Cool. Let's actually add one more so it repeats correctly. So every time we add, it will extrude it out and use the existing colors. So we hit edit again. If you don't have a shape edited, so for example, if we have multiple of these out at once, unselect it. If you hit edit, it will tell you which one you want to edit just for the interface purposes, but modifying any one of these will, so you can use hotkeys as well, but modifying any one of these will modify all of them in the scene because they're using the same shape. If you wanted to only modify one of these and not the other, you could copy the shape here, and this will automatically copy the shape and then remap this object to use the new shape. So it's basically a shortcut for going here, duplicating. Now we have two versions of the same, shape 82, shape 86. These are both 82 now. And then we could select this to use shape 86. So now we can modify this one without having to worry about the other one changing. But we don't need that one right now. And so let's just create this platform. It's about good. And then we want this to move up and down. So we can actually use the exact same timeline we used for the spinning, so it will stop at the top and stop at the bottom. So we can add an oscillator. So it looks like this is about 20 units high, so we can say maybe it's 16. And then we need to, it won't actually move until it knows which timeline to use. So let's use the same timeline as before. A little tall, so let's bump it down to 14. Perfect. So the difference here is now we're telling it to, instead of going from 0 to 360, we're going from 0 to 14 and stopping in the middle. So this is stopping at 7 now. So we actually don't want to use this exactly as it is, but what we can do is copy it exact same way we did before. And so now there's two versions of it, and this is automatically using the new version. And then we can mirror it or inverse it. It'll actually be the same in this situation. Yep. And so now it'll create extra stops where it will go down, stop in the middle, go here, and then go back up. So this would be cool if you had to do something maybe to dodge a trap in the middle, then you have to take this middle section where it pauses to watch out for something that could push you off. So now we can jump on this spinning platform, go over to the end, and then right it up, stop in the middle, and then we get the chest. If you want to change what the treasure is, all you have to do is set the trophy. You can click on any object in the level. So you can click on this tree, hit refresh, and then a tree will appear. Or if you wanted to, you could click on the spinning object, or you could actually just click on any prefab itself. So you could click on the tree prefab instead of an object in the scene. And that's some basics on platforms. Thanks for watching.